Holman, you ready to start the show? I think. Oh, hey, what's up, Miles?
Hey guys, it's Miles, your producer here.
What's up?
On this episode, you will be speaking with a husband and wife who will be driving 5,000 miles up the Alcan highway in a brand new truck. You'll discuss heavy-D Cybertruck on tracks, the best used truck values, and an interesting Nissan patent.
Oh, cool.
There's a lot of show to get to. Please don't waste any time like you normally do.
Patent.
How dare you?
You can't really talk very well.
No, he's congested right now. He's got a cold.
Before we get too far down the road, I just want to say thank you
for
saving me the shipping and hand delivering this Banks box here. We'll get into it in a few minutes.
Okay.
But it's so heavy that it's on the floor because it bowed the desk when you put it on it.
It's not lightweight. It is aircraft-grade die-cast aluminum, my friend.
I would like to also add that this must be the Gale Banks signature model because it has his signature on the box. All right, well, we'll get to that in a minute, but first, you want to recap what our producer Miles said?
Yes, Mercedes and Andy Lilienthal are venturing up the Alcan Highway, the Alaska-Canadian Highway.
Now, that's something you've done in the past that I haven't.
I have done it.
I know.
I went from Los Angeles all the way up to Fairbanks, Alaska.
I wish it was something I wanted on my... I want to cross it off my bucket list, and...
Dude, I did it in a Ford Ranger.
Even better.
Things. Yeah, it was super cool. And I did it in the dead of winter. I did it the second week of December, and we were in four-wheel drive the whole way.
At what point did your windshield crack? Like the second you turned the heater on?
No, the windshield didn't get obliterated until the big rigs came by just dusting us with rocks. That was scary. It was
Not a good time.
No. When they would go the opposite way, they would have a whirlwind of rocks just chasing them. And we would literally just cower and close our eyes and go all over the windshield. And you just pray that it didn't shatter.
So you're saying take a brand new vehicle that someone else owns, like the Lilienthals are doing. That's the way to do it.
Yes. Well, this was a brand new... Ford gave this to me.
Yeah, they didn't like it when you got it back.
So when I gave it back to him, the windshield was so spider cracked and pitted and mangled, but it didn't bust, luckily. So yeah, they're going up in a brand new INEOS Grenadier, as I like to call it.
Jeez.
They're going to put it to the test. I guess not many people have yet, and they're going to do it. We're also going to discuss Supercar Ron's Cybertruck on tracks. Now, this is a dude up in Utah that collects Paganis and Bugattis and all that stuff, but within a few days of taking possession of his new Cybertruck, he handed it over to Heavy-D Sparks of Diesel Brothers fame, and they put it up on a set of tracks, and the comments are priceless on
I think the comments are better than the actual vehicle itself.
I love the truck.
And I love the comments.
Okay. We're also going to be talking about the best used truck values. So if you're in the market for a used truck, Holman might have some insight for you.
All right. And then also Nissan has a cool patent that just dropped recently, and it's on the Frontier. So we'll dive into that a little bit.
What?
So all sorts of stuff coming out on this episode of the Truck Show podcast. But first, we got to thank Nissan, our presenting sponsor, who brings you the show week after week, month after month, and year after year. So if you are looking for a new truck, head on down to your local Nissan dealer. Go to nissanusa.com. You can build and price a Frontier, a Titan XD. Show them the same love that they've shown you by supporting this Truck Show podcast. Support Nissan, or at least put them on your list. If you're going to be test driving new trucks, I think you'll be really pleasantly surprised with what they have to offer.
And now, Mr. Holman, it's time for you to open the box that is on the floor. Put it up on your lap or something. Yeah.
Well, that's hefty.
Yeah, that's big. That's a big box. Slice open the Banks wrapping tape.
All right, so this is a giant box. I know what it is because I ordered it through you. So I slid into Lightning's DMs, and I said, hey, you might know me, but I need a diff cover, a Ram Air diff cover. And it's funny because he's like, but you don't have that truck. And I'm like, well, I just want to hang it on the wall.
You don't have a Ram
And he's
truck,
like,
no.
you need to have a lag bolt in order to hang this thing on the wall. I'm opening it up.
Yep, it's a box in a box.
And it is the Banks Ram Air diff cover in black with the Banks shiny logo that's been machined out. No, I got it. It's good.
You got it?
Yeah, it comes with all the hardware. Yeah. But the reason we like these, not only do they have scoops that scoop air to actually put it through the fins to cool it down for towing and things like that. It's got a sight glass so you can see the oil level. It's got brand new, beautiful hardware on it. It's got a magnetic drain plug. You can fill and service the diff without taking the cover off,
Right.
which is super awesome. And for those of you who like off-roading, if you were accidentally to smash one of those ears on a rock or something like that, they break away. They will not damage your diff, which
you
is
can
very
see where
cool.
they're perforated right there. So they do snap right off. We've tested it. And Banks has sold thousands of these already. And of the thousands, only 2 guys have busted the ears off. One on a stump and one on some kind of a parking block or something.
And I believe you replace those, right? Lifetime warranty?
Lifetime warranty. Absolutely.
That's pretty awesome. So my uncle buys this 23 Ram 2500. And he's like, hey, what should I get for it? And I'm like, well, we should get some Banks parts. I can probably
someone?
slide into some DMs. And he told me he's buying this this travel trailer. So he's got this gooseneck. It's like 752 feet long and must weigh 80,000 pounds. And so I'm like, oh, yeah, the first thing you should do, Ram Air diff cover, because as mighty as your Ram is, that diff cover is going to make a huge difference in keeping those rear gears cool.
Yeah.
So
It cools 4 times better than the stock cover.
how many applications do you guys have?
Ram, GM, and Ford, all the 3/4 and 1-ton trucks.
All right, well, if you need to cool off your rear end because you're towing and hauling, then head over to bankspower.com and go down to the year, make, model, and you can find the right one for your truck.
The Truck Show. We're gonna show you what we know. We're gonna answer what the truck, 'cause truck rhymes with the Truck Show. We have the lifted, we have the lowered, and everything in between. We'll talk about trucks that run on diesel and the ones that run on gasoline. The Truck Show, the Truck Show, the Truck Show. Oh, oh.
It's the Truck Show with your hosts, Lightning and Holman.
That's us.
All right, so Lightning, you and I were both scrolling on our Instagrams this week, and we both came across the same post, and we like it for different reasons. So the post was from Heavy D Sparks from Diesel Brothers, and it's a picture of a brand new Cybertruck on Hell Tracks. The comment is, when the vehicle is the exact same shape as the tracks with hardy eyes, this is one of the most ridiculously amazing things we've ever built. I'm more excited to drive this than anything I've driven in a very long time. So I call shenanigans on all of that.
Why
It's
are you
all
calling
hype.
shenanigans?
The dude has driven some of the best things in the world. He just got his helicopter pilot's license because
he's got an Apache?
where he's Black Hawk rated,
Oh,
and
yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, "Oh, a stock Cybertruck," and all he did was bolt on these tracks. It's the most amazing thing ever. I don't buy
No,
it.
listen, I get
I
it.
don't buy it.
Dave is really good at being
Marketing.
the hype man.
Yeah, he's the hype man.
He's the hype man for sure. We all know that, so get
Yeah.
past that.
Okay, fine.
So look at the actual project. I think it's super cool looking.
Whatever.
And he's right. The tracks are the same shape as the Cybertruck.
And nobody has ever put a set of these tracks on anything else before. It's like low-hanging fruit. Okay, cool. So you have Hell Tracks. Oh, yeah, you can get some Instagram. What I like is there are no less than 1,970 comments about it.
Yes. Oh, so
That's
thing
the
is,
entertainment factor
Before
there.
you, so also he's strapped some Baja Designs lights on it, maybe like 20 lights.
Well, you saw Baja Designs actually hit him up and said, "Let's strap some lights on it."
Oh, is that true?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
They're in the comments.
Okay, got it. So let's go through the comments of this Cybertruck, as they're calling it. And I think this thing is owned by Supercar Ron, some Utah high-end car collector up there. So it's not Dave's, but he is outfitting it as he does.
So hold on, I was reading the comments. Chris Forsberg, 64, who is Chris Forsberg of the Nissan Forsberg package that we talked about in the last episode. He's like, let's see it happen. And then Decked, who's this sound like? Well, boys, he did it. It's got to be Chopper, right?
Chopper. Yeah.
So it's funny when you're kind of scrolling through. Somebody actually called him up and said, "What happened for your love for Nikola?" Ooh, because remember,
Ouch, the Badger.
He bought the Badger, and there's gonna be like some announcement that he was gonna.
He bought the rights to the Badger,
something, or
right?
had something. It was all like sort of sketch. So I don't know whatever happened. So it's kind of weird. He's like, "Oh, nothing to see here, but look, Cybertruck on tracks." Nobody will remember the whole conversation
He's
about
just jumping on. Look,
Badger.
he's really, really good at seizing an opportunity.
All right, what are your favorite comments?
So, like, he blasted all these lights all over the thing and had some custom stainless steel racks made.
Well, which
and
is cool
bumpers
because it
and such.
matches the
so
stainless
guy,
steel. on the thing.
So Kenko Killer 187S. Serious question, dude. How long does the battery last with the tracks and lights on? LOL. And it's just like 4 minutes, 2.5 minutes. The bottom line is no one seems to believe that it'll run more than 5 minutes at cold ass temperatures and with all the lights and the tracks running.
So a lot of battery comments. One guy says, snowcat, yes. Truck, no. Pontoon boat, maybe. That was pretty good.
I do like Baja designs. Now, this is a bright idea with a light bulb.
Yeah. This is like one of those how many triangles are in this picture riddle. All right, that one was
Strong,
super solid.
strong, yes.
And then, of course, the comments about breaking the internet, and you can put a diesel generator in the back and all that kind of stuff. So this guy, I love when people say this has got to be the coolest, best, most amazing thing we've ever done to date. Every time they do something. You know what that means? That means that they're pushing the envelope every time they do something. I'm like, somebody wants to get in the good graces.
Holman, you got to love this one. Trevor is rolling his eyes. Trevor Milton. Yes.
Who,
of Nikola.
Well, former
Nikola fame.
Of something, some penitentiary somewhere now.
Right.
How the Cybertruck should have come from the factory. That actually looks way better than they do from the factory. This is how it should have come.
This is what 35 minutes of battery life looks like.
That's pretty solid. One guy just said, take my money. So that's low-hanging fruit on internet comments. Time for a ski trip.
Halfway out of the garage, you're going to need to charge it.
Enjoy that 4-mile range.
People are not believing that this is going to do much out in the snow.
He's a great hype man. I think it's cool. It's great for photos, but I'm kind of, I'm meh on it. Like, go out there and do silly things, like, by all means. Like, somebody came to my house and said, hey, here's a Cybertruck and a bunch of parts, like, bolt these on and then go somewhere and take videos. I'd be like, okay. But for me, I don't think so. You? Maybe.
I love it. I would love it to drive down the street in this, like down Whittier Boulevard on a cruise night. It must make a racket on the street, right? Would it fall apart? Are they pretty durable?
Yeah, they're pretty durable, but you don't want to turn too sharply. You gotta manage your turning on those.
So yeah, good luck with those ball joints.
I wouldn't take it on my next long range off road trip or anything like that, but it's cool for Instagram.
I'd love to pick up a date in this.
All right, speaking of, you're married.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so speaking of married and cold weather, why don't we transition to giving our friends Andy and Mercedes Lilienthal a call. You guys may remember them. They've been on the show before. Andy used to work at Warren, and Mercedes is a freelance writer. And so they are going to, in fact, last time they were on the show, they were talking about doing the Alcan 5000, except last time it was in their Pajero or something, right?
Yes.
So this time,
a freak show of a little truck.
This time they got a brand new Grenadier from INEOS. And so I'm kind of curious about the compare and contrast between those two vehicles. And I think they're leaving like when you hear this episode air. So
are you admit that you're jealous? Will you just admit
I'm
that you're
totally jealous. Yeah. Listen, if somebody said, here's a vehicle, here's gas, drive to the Arctic Circle, I would leave tomorrow. I would tell my family I'll be gone for several weeks.
Do you think they're getting free gas or paying for it?
I don't know. We should find out. Why don't you give them a call?
All right, let's dial Mercedes and Andy.
Hello.
Hello, Mercedes. Lightning and Holman Truck Show Podcast.
Hey, how are you?
We're awesome. Where's our man Andy? Where he at?
I'm right here.
Oh,
Hey, there he is. This is the first time we've talked to Andy since he left his old throws over at Warren and went out on his own, and so now he's like me, trying to figure out how to make money.
Now, so Holman is Used for Adventure, or which other one was the podcast one?
Holman at Truck Show Podcast?
No.
Just the business?
Yeah, the business.
Oh, Truck Famous.
Truck Famous, that's right. We're
Then
Truck Famous
there's
LLC.
OVR Mag.
And OVR Mag. But
License Plate Media.
I
yeah.
got to be honest, though, I kind of prefer Mercedes and Andy crankshaft culture. That's cool.
You know they have a group on Facebook, right?
I'm going to have to join.
You should do that. There's a lot of interesting stuff on there.
Will they admit me?
Well, I also need to figure out why the heck they're selling the old tractor. That's a whole other thing we have to talk about.
All right, we'll do that right after we play the intro. Don't move.
Pull up a stool and share. Pull up a stool and share a story. Pull up a stool and share. How about you pull up a stool and share with us?
Now, did you say something about a tractor?
Well, that's just what they call it. It's not an actual tractor.
What are you referring to?
No.
Well,
It's a 1992 Mitsubishi Pajero with a 2.5-liter turbo diesel engine. We call it the Rally Tractor.
the rally tractor.
That's the one we spoke to you last time about.
It's a
Pajero.
two-door also, by the way, which makes it short wheelbase and super rad.
It is, yes.
It's one of the two-door Pajeros we have.
We're going to become a one Pajero family.
So wait, why? Now you can't have little Pajeros.
Well, we have a Mitsubishi
many.
Delica van as well, so there might be some action happening under the carport still.
All right.
But,
Well,
You guys are running a freak show over there.
no, they
I'm telling
totally.
you.
All their vehicles are freak shows, except for the latest one that they actually. Well, there's one that they're borrowing. We'll get into that soon. And they also just picked up a Subaru, which is a fairly normal person's car.
Yeah. Hey, that Delica, I want to know, will that Delica make a tighter turning radius than those old Toyota vans that are like the wheels were so close to
My
each
mom
other?
had a 1984 version of the Toyota Toaster
I
van.
feel like you could turn on, like literally a dime.
You realize those things? You sat on the engine. It was on a short wheelbase Toyota pickup chassis.
My neighbor had one. I loved it.
Oh, it was great. We had it for Boy Scouts and stuff like that. You load everybody in there. It had the cool like RV style sliding windows in it, and
Yep.
yeah, that thing was cool.
So the Delica, good, bad?
Excellent.
Oh, yeah.
It's,
Love it.
This is a Delica Space Gear, so it's not the Star Wagon we had one, but the Star Wagon was the cab over style. The
The
Star
old school boxy one.
Yeah, the Space Gear is, well, let's put it this way. We've had a lot of people ask us at some of the shows, like, is that a lifted Previa? I'm like, no.
Not a Previa.
We also had a
it's a
Previa growing
Delica.
up.
Of course
we
you
had,
did.
We had a 92 Previa with captain seats. The egg. It was
Oh, yeah,
awesome.
nice.
Love that thing.
You were so
yeah.
white Huntington Beach.
Yeah, you're right.
Nice.
My mom could never have anything super nice. It had to be really practical. And she's listening right now, probably going, seriously, why are you outing me? But I remember they spent hours at the dealership trading in the blue toaster van to get the Previa, right? And so, it was like the new car was coming home. And so I was like probably 14 or 15 at the time. And I remember it was pearl white and it had chrome wheels and it was the alloys. And I'm like, oh my God, the minivan's rad, right? And my mom literally
Nice.
walks in the door and goes, the chrome wheels are going back tomorrow.
Oh, no. She deleted them?
Yeah, she had the regular alloys put on, but it was so late, the service department was closed.
That's
so
so
they had to go
lame.
back. So
That's so lame.
I'm like, my mom finally got chrome wheels on the family the family donk, and nope, they went back.
That's so funny that you guys were so practical. That's just,
I know. My parents, we grew up. My dad had like 6 Honda Accords in a row.
yeah.
I think after the Previa, my mom had a Ford Explorer. I mean, it was like just normal, middle class cars.
Just
Awesome.
pedestrian vehicles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not like the Lilienthals.
No. They have well, then you guys have to worry because some states don't even want your Delica on the roads.
Yeah, I broke that story, believe it or not, about the Delicas in Maine. And then first we saw some people getting a letter from the state of Maine in the Mitsubishi Delica Owners Club group on Facebook that I'm admin of. Mercedes and I are.
Because Andy's pretty much the godfather of all the Delica and Pajero groups online everywhere.
But yeah, Maine doesn't
one of
watch
them?
the
I
Delica.
was going to say that's got to be really easy since there's 7 members. Hey, Bob,
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
up today?
But there's also 7
There's actually
groups.
quite a bit.
There's 7 groups, and all
actually
7
quite
of
a
those
bit.
members are in each group.
Yeah.
So they just shared all each other all the time. So, all right, how is business now that you've gone out on your own? I don't think we've really had a chance to talk since you decided to jump out of the corporate world and give it a swing.
We don't
Yeah.
talk about the Alcan 5000.
No,
It's
that's
all
later.
about entrepreneurialism.
No, we're catching up with Andy.
Business is good. We're busy. We're headed to Montreal, Quebec tomorrow for a drive event. And then, we leave for the Alcan 5000 on the 21st. We leave
Like
this
2 weeks away.
Yeah, and we got a bunch of stuff planned. So, but we're busy and we're doing well, and we've got clients. We're doing a lot of writing, and
Awesome. I love to hear it. Obviously, Mercedes has been out kind of freelancing for a while now, and now you guys get back to tackling some stuff as a couple, which is cool. And
Well,
I know you guys love traveling together.
Haven't we seen your names
Yes.
in OVR recently?
Yeah, we have had the Lilienthals in OVR Mag, absolutely. And
yeah, absolutely.
you guys are clearly getting to go do cool stuff still. So the big news is I think the last time we talked to you on the show was when you guys were preparing for last year or 2 years ago on the Alcan 5000, and we wanted to know what it was like to drive a vehicle to I guess the Arctic Circle, right?
Yeah, we did the 2020 Alcan, which was in one of our freak show vehicles in 2020, and then in 2022 we did it in an Outback Wilderness. We didn't go quite as far as the Arctic Circle in 2022, and then for 2024 we're going to be in an INEOS Grenadier, and we will we will hit that Arctic Circle.
I'm excited to find out. I know you posted some initial thoughts on online on your Facebook and kind of said, "Hey, we're kind of getting used to it." And I maybe made a little bit of a snarky comment about build quality is good, but lots of quirks to get over. I recently had a chance to drive it, and this is probably one of the more excited I've been about a vehicle coming out lately. Long story short, for those who are just coming on the show now and haven't heard the backstory, is a billionaire who's an oil tycoon said that he wanted to purchase basically the old Defender blueprints from Land Rover and put it back into service as a newer vehicle, updated, instead of the Defender that we get from Land Rover, which is a minivan with swinging doors and is an abomination to the Defender name, but that's a whole other conversation. And Land Rover told him politely to go pound sand. So he took his billions and said, I'm going to just go build it myself. So think of a INEOS Grenadier as the modern version of a true Defender 110, and you kind of get the picture of what this vehicle is. It's designed in the UK. It's built on the German-France border where the old smart cars used to be built, and it's got German engineering such as the BMW drivetrain. And
So good engine, but really piss poor wiring.
no, I think they probably left that to the Germans too.
Okay.
Hopefully.
All right. So what I don't know about this, guys, and maybe Mercedes and Andy, you can fill me in, as an enthusiast, but not in the hardcore off-road space, and certainly not in the upper echelon of like the English or German off-roaders, like the G-Wagon, stuff like that. I don't feel the Grenadier in my marketing. Like I'm not seeing it on my feeds. I'm not seeing it on ESPN during football games. I'm not feeling it anywhere. Do you have any idea what that's about?
Yeah, actually, it's funny you mention that because today on, I believe it was carbuzz.com, it was announced that all of the INEOS 2024 allocations have been sold, or at least are available. So they're not making any more 2024s. They had a fairly low, expected to sell like 8,000 a year. So they weren't going after 240,000 sales.
And I think globally, when I went to their launch last year in, I think it was January of last year in Scotland for the global launch of the Euro circuit that I drove, both the diesel and the petrol. And they said globally they wanted to have their take rate of being 30,000 out of the gate. So this is a lot more of a boutique manufacturer. So of course, first year manufacturer, first year model, of course they've got their quartermaster coming out right afterwards, and they're going to have their EV coming out in about 2 years after that. Of course we see it all over the place, but I think we're a little bit more embedded with it. And we've been writing about it extensively. We've been doing social media on it. So I think it's, the AI has been kind of catering more towards us. But North America has been becoming a powerhouse as far as reservation holders, as far as sales is concerned. And it's been surpassing some of the other markets like Australia or Europe, which has been what they were expecting and is what they're seeing.
And hoping for, right? Because you want to have a strong presence in the North American market. You said around 8,000, just so people have a sense of scale. The Toyota Land Cruiser, which was discontinued in 2022, in 2021, they sold 3,711. So selling 8,000 of these is double what Land Cruiser was selling before it got canceled with the older platform here in the U.S. and went to Lexus only. So that's saying something. The other thing is they've only been really on sale here for probably less than a real year. And I'm starting to see them pop up. I drove Bernard.
And on sale meaning for order. They're just now delivering, correct?
Yeah, they've just been delivered here in the last 4 or 5 months, something like that?
Two or three weeks.
Literally only about 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, well, even shorter. So I got into one that Bernard Leitner had picked up, and he let me drive it.
Yep.
And there's a lot of things that I liked about it. Like, I like the styling. I think they did a good job. I like the build quality. Seems really solid. The doors sound like granite when you thunk them. But there's a lot of stupid little things. Like, what's under the fenders above the front wheels? Is that wasted space? Could it have possibly been a compartment for an onboard air compressor or something like that? I know they have the stadium seating in the back that has the spare batteries and a bunch of room for auxiliary components under the second row. That's cool, except you can't lay flat the back seat, so you can't sleep across the back without a pad or something. And then the way they mount the spare door, it's like a 70-30 rear door. And where they mount the spare tire, it's like a 70-30 rear door. And if you put anything bigger on, you get to a point where you almost can't open the door, like one's tire size up, because the tire gets too close to the edge of where the other edge of the opposite door is. And then for $80,000, it's a regular key. There's not like a keyless key fob, and the screen is really small, and it shares a lot of functions. It does the maps, it does the radio, it does the camera, it does the speedometer, which I hate. I know why they did it, because you want to have a driver and a passenger be able to make it left and right hand drive super easily, so everything's on the center stack. But once you start driving and everything's on there, it just takes up a lot of real estate, and so you're kind of you wish the screen was bigger. I wish they had like a little screen just for the driver information stuff, like speedometer in front of the driver, so that center stack screen could be used for other things. But other than that, it rode nice. I thought it's very similar suspension to like a Wrangler JL, and the only thing I didn't like about it is the steering doesn't self-center. There's like the caster seems way off for me. So the first curve you go around, it's like, oh, you got to kind of unwind it.
Well, could that have been just Bernard's, or you think that's
No, that's all of them.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, no, it's in fact,
It takes some getting used to, for sure. The steering was one of the things that took some getting used to, because it doesn't self-center quite as much, And as far as the okay, it's $80,000, you don't get a push button. I could care less personally. Like, give me a key, I don't care. As long as it starts every time, that's all I care about.
And one of the things just to note is that INEOS wanted to make sure that they could try to have as much field fixable as possible. So their whole mantra was to have as much mechanical as possible and technologically enabled only as necessary. So they wanted to have as few ECUs as possible on board. So that there goes the push button, there goes the blind spot detection, there goes all of the fancy, all the things that are, where the Land Rover Defender goes through, that, where all of the other, the G-Wagon, all these others go to for the technology bits, because they don't want it to necessarily, go into limp mode immediately, because some, ECU decides to trip and you're stuck on the trail, not being able to go anywhere because some simple thing just decides to go to pot.
So I get that. I'm just spoiled. I have a 392 that has adaptive cruise control, blind spot, and all the things, right? And I'm soft. I'm just going to be honest with you. I've gotten soft over time.
Yeah. So Andy, Mercedes, how do you or not represent INEOS? You got the vehicle to go on the Alcan 5000. Did you buy it? Are they giving it to you? And what do they expect out of you?
So for us, they're giving it to us on loan. We did not buy the vehicle. And we are journalists. So for us, we have a very benign, truthful, unbiased opinion, no matter if they give us a vehicle or if we buy a vehicle and we review it or whatnot. So Andy, I don't know if you have a differing opinion, but for us, we are automotive journalists. So it doesn't matter if they give us a vehicle and say, here, you have it for a month, and if you drive it, or if they, whatever, what have you. So for me, there's never going to be a perfect vehicle. There are going to be things that we're not going to like. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. So there are things that I do not prefer on the Grenadier, and there are certain things that I absolutely love about the Grenadier. So, and we're going to write about those things in detail. I think it's important. So,
okay, great. I just wanted to make sure that you guys were impartial here.
No. I think I think it's a fantastic first swing. There's some preference things that bug me from what I look for in a vehicle.
Well, this is their first go at it, right?
That's what I'm saying. This is an incredible first swing. Like I'm really impressed with the vehicle, but I'm also a journalist, and so if there's people who are looking and cross shopping, you have to understand what you're getting yourself into. This is made for long range backcountry travel primarily, so it's not going to be
it's not made for all the creature comforts.
Yeah, correct. But it still costs $80,000, right? So depending on your trim and model and all that kind of stuff. So I think like the way they have the switches wired, the way they have the mounts for the roof rails, all that kind of stuff. They've got the cool little dual sunroof over each of the front seats. That's kind of neat. And then it is a little bit of a parts bin car in the sense that it's got the BMW electronic shifter that has the BMW head on it. And then the transfer case shifter is like a cue ball, like a black cue ball. And so I hate that BMW shifter in any car. It's not an INEOS thing, but having it in the INEOS to figure out the stupid thing you have to do for park and reverse and drive is just as irritating in that as it is in a BMW. That being said, I thought it rode great. It's quiet. Scott Brady from Overland Journal just took one across the African continent and had a great time with it.
What are they using for the transmission? Do you know?
It's a ZF. It's a BMW twin turbo straight six, but it's detuned. I think it's only something around 280 horsepower. So it's not super powerful, but they did that to keep it reliable because those BMW straight sixes are sort of a crapshoot with lots of boost, as the BMW dealer can tell you.
I would agree on all those points. The nice thing about it is the BMW, it's all BMW filters and all that stuff. It's easy to get. It's not some unobtainium that you can only get at one spot. So I'm glad for that, especially if I'm going to be out in the middle of nowhere. I'm not that far away from a BMW. It's not like I have to get some, fancy Lamborghini exhaust manifold that's only available, every 3 years or something like that. So,
hey, Andy, let me ask you, Mercedes, you should explain the toot horn to my man Lightning here because it deserves its own talking point.
Yeah, there's this little red button on the steering wheel on the right-hand side of the steering wheel, and it says toot, and it's got a symbol of a bicycle. So rather than laying on the horn when, there's something some person in the middle of the road, it's a much more polite, excuse me, very cordial toot. I kept jokingly saying, give them the old toot toot, when there's just somebody standing in the road.
Yeah, you don't have to be downtown Chicago and just be like, get the, H out of the way or whatever. Or like when I was in Scotland and we were on the trails, right? And there was literally a herd of Scottish stag, and I was in the back of the pack with the Grenadiers, and there was one that I think it was like a 14 or a 16 pointer, and it did not want to get off the trail.
No respect for the toot.
Yeah, literally, and it was staring me down, and after what seemed like, eternity, I radioed up and I said, guys, there's a stag that's staring me down, and I don't want to be like the only North American journalist where all of a sudden he's going to literally hit the Grenadier with a stag.
No. Not only, Mercedes, hold on. Not only, first. That story gets better when you are the first North American journalist to be impaled inside a Grenadier.
Yeah, pretty much.
But you got to give me the old toot.
Yeah,
that's right.
And they said just use a toot horn, and I'm like, you sure about that, guys? So beep 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 beep. It just. So really soft, and he looked at me, ears go back, but then the thing literally just starts prancing off slowly. And I basically, after I soiled myself, I went, okay, all right, we're good. And then we basically kept on going. So, yeah, all is good in the world.
So apparently the owner of INEOS is a bicycle guy, so he wanted to have a more polite way to tell bicyclists get the H, as Mercedes said, out of your way. There you go. Toot horn.
Let's talk about the Alcan 5000.
So the Alcan 5000 rally in a nutshell is a 5,000 mile plus 10-day rally that changes course. So it's like the Olympics. It's a time, speed, distance competition. It's a road rally where it's like the winter and then 2 years summer, then 2 years winter. And in 2024, this year, it's a 40th year anniversary of it. So it started in 1984. And the route changes. And so it starts typically near Seattle. And this year, we're going to be going up all through British Columbia, then going into Alberta, then heading all the way up to Yellowknife, heading westward all the way through Whitehorse, then going up into Fairbanks, optional route up to Coldfoot, back down into Fairbanks, down to Valdez, and then finishing into Anchorage.
So question for you guys. Obviously going up there in a mostly stock vehicle, but there are some limited modifications and then gear that you have to bring. So how are you outfitting it for this particular adventure?
Yeah, it is mostly going to be stock. So we love a good BF Goodrich KO2, which is what this comes with. But we are going to Trial Master, which is the version we have. But we're going to swap out those tires for Michelin Excise tires. Let's give this thing as much traction as possible, because frankly, once you get north of British Columbia in this time of year, oftentimes you won't see bare pavement again for the entire rally. So we're going to put some Michelin Excise tires on there. We're going to throw a set of Max Tracks up on the roof just in case we need those. We're going to have factory supplied or dealer supplied Rhino rack. Rhino rack is INEOS's racking partner. We're going to have a double jerry can holder on there. We're going to have some antenna mount from Rhino rack, some rugged radios, antennas, and radios.
Factor 55 recovery gear that we're going to have.
recovery gear, and then a couple of jerry cans up on the roof there. So, but really, other than that, it's going to be stock. So, we think it'll be plenty capable.
What do you expect the range to be? So the fuel tank is 23.8 gallons.
That's so weird because I was going to ask that question. And the reason I was going to ask the question about range is because I drove the Alcan.
Right.
So I went all the way up and we went in December, right before Christmas. And there were spots, the sign says, last fuel stop for 400 miles. And if you don't get 400 miles of range, you run out.
And you get cold fast.
Yeah, so we anticipate at 15 miles a gallon, we expect about 350 miles of range. But again, we're bringing 10 gallons of high test fuel with us just in case. The other thing that happens up there is you'll be going and there's the gas station 400 miles later, and you'll pull in and they just might not have power. We've had that happen before in 2020 where we pulled in and they didn't have power, so nobody could fuel up.
There's a saying up there that literally all of us say, never pass gas. And it's so true. It's funny, but it's true.
Never pass gas on the Alcan.
We have the same rule here in the podcast studio, which is never abided by.
No. There are, this right here is, hold on, listen. This is a bag of Wiener Schnitzel chili dogs from before we started the show.
Lightning inhaled about 4 chili dogs prior to calling you.
Just one. So what do you guys do when you run into the fuel station that's out of power or that hasn't been supplied fuel? Then you just curl up and die?
Well, they're still on the phone, so they've made it back
barely
a couple times.
Maybe they didn't. Maybe these are the ghosts of Andy and
the ghosts of the I don't think so. I think these are really them.
Okay.
The rally has buddy cars. So each team member has at least 2 or 3 different cars that they basically run within a pack. So you have morning time, speed, distance challenges where you have maybe for half an hour to an hour of an actual competition based part or leg. And then you have maybe 750 or 780 miles where it's basically a transit. Then you might have an afternoon leg. So during that transit, you can't really just slow down and take photos here, do this and, visit this area, whatever. You have to make time. But you're in a pack of a couple of different cars. That being said, is if you run out of fuel, there might be another vehicle that has a jerry can where you can swap fuel or this or that. But you have your own jerry cans. You have to be self-sufficient up there.
I could see it where somebody runs out and the buddy cars all come to a stop. And it's like the end of Reservoir Dogs, where they're all looking at each other. It's like, who gets the fuel can? There's like Rochambeau on the side. It's like, I don't know if I want to give you my fuel. I'm getting low myself. You may have to just stay behind.
Dude, it's Sub-Zero. You die if you don't have fuel.
Yeah. Like I want to call you guys. I want to call you guys after the Alcan just to find out if the defroster worked on this thing.
Well, and you raise a really good point. I mean, there are lots of tips and tricks, and we're going to be writing a lot about that. One of the things is we have anti-fog spray that we're going to be using for the first time in the inside of our windshield and our glass and all these different kinds of things. And all of these different things that you learn along the way each year that you do it, that you're taught.
So, you had asked about modifications, and it's not something, when I think of modifications, I'm thinking of tires and suspension and all that stuff.
Winches,
Two things that we're going to be doing.
Winches? Kind of like what Smitty built or Harbor Freight? See
what you did there?
It actually has a red winch on
it.
Oh, interesting.
But 2 modifications we are making is we're taking out the factory windshield wiper fluid and putting minus 50 fluid in there because that stuff will freeze up real quick. The other one is changing to a 60-40 antifreeze mix. So instead of being good down to about 36 below Fahrenheit, 38 Fahrenheit
from the factory,
it's going to be good to minus 62 Fahrenheit. So it's little things like that. Fluids do weird things at 50 below zero. Your plastic does weird things at 50 below zero. So we're making some modifications there. Not big, sexy modifications, but necessary bits.
Motor oil, gear oil, things like that?
It has 0W20, which is next to water anyway. So not worried about that. It's all synthetic fluid too, so I'm not too worried about that.
So here's my next question for you guys, and it'll become apparent after with my follow-up. Obviously, people on this show, especially the 2 hosts in here, are thinking about restroom stops. And what do you carry with you? If you have a common man's bumper dumper or something like that, you're exposed to the elements. And I can't imagine that I would think that gasoline stops and serviceable restrooms are probably at the same interval. So how the heck do you go when you got to go?
So if you're lucky enough, you might be able to find a rest stop, and most of the times it might be 4 pieces of plywood, slightly ganged together, that may have an outhouse roof-ish kind of slightly put together. Andy's got a really good photo that has made its way online in parts, with a toilet in there that you can hover above. And
yeah, you don't want to put your cheeks on it, because it'll be like that scene in A Christmas Story with the flagpole, and you'll be taking a whole porta potty with you when you get up.
Yes. Yeah, no. You hover. But most of the time there literally is nothing. So if you need to go, you literally pack it in, pack it out. I mean, you go and you pack it out. So that is what it is. And as far as women, hey, you just got to brave it and be quick.
So I have gotten to the age of where, dumping in the desert, if you will, it's not comfortable. My knees don't like it, right?
What's the necklace that you and I bought with the I have one.
That's Graham from Hula Hoop.
Oh yeah, Hula Hoop.
Yeah,
yes,
where it has
I have
the
one of
toilet
those.
paper around your neck. Yeah.
Yes. So you don't have to sit in the dirt. It just hangs around your neck.
Well, no, that's the toilet paper. I'm talking
yeah.
about like the actual act of squatting, like getting up and like making sure you don't poop down the back of your pants, or you fill up your boots or something, or on a particularly bad moment where you've got the piles growing, you have to move laterally to make room for yourself. I realize all these things are bad.
There's no way that Andy and Mercedes thought they were going to talk about.
No, but this is important.
Show.
This is super important. So I've been looking at the Thunderbox and the Bush toilet from Iron Man, and they fold up and they're like 2 inches thick, folded.
Thunderbox. Come on.
That's awesome, right?
Thunderbox.
Yeah, Thunderbox. And I'm looking at those and I'm going, one of these two things has to be the best thing ever made, because you can actually unfold this thing, sit on it, do your business. You can do it into the normal bag that has the pack out gel where it neutralizes everything. But do you guys have any experience with any of these? Because if I'm going on a epic cross-continent adventure, I want to be comfortable when I poop. I'm just going to be honest with you.
So, I own a luggable loo, but I've not ever had to use it. I have more experience than I'm willing to admit with wag bags. But on the Alcan, I guess I've just been lucky enough. I feel like, people that have dogs, it's like, oh, it's so cold out. Dogs like, I'm not going outside. It's too cold. So I've been able to usually have no problem with making my stops when I need to.
High protein diet, eggs and steak for breakfast. Is that what we're doing?
No chili dogs.
Yeah, I guess call me lucky as well. I mean, I just either that or call me extra hardcore. I've never had lucky or or never had an issue. But if it is.
Travel gods are listening to you guys right now. Don't let your luck run out.
Yeah.
Can we go back to the rally for a second? The rally specifically. I don't really understand this time-based distance thing. Like, how do you win? Or is it just an exercise and hey, let's go and we're all going to rally? It's like sounds like a caravan and not a race. Do you win?
Well, it's
anything?
a rally.
So does anyone win anything? Like, what's other than the adventure? What else is up?
Yeah. So part of the Alcan 5000 is it is competition and it is time, speed, distance. So time, speed, distance rally, it's not like stage rally, like, in a Subaru sliding sideways through the woods and all that stuff. Time, speed, distance is all about accuracy. So you get a route book, and in the route book, there's a bunch of directions. So they'll say like when your odometer reads 0.5, you take a right on the main street, change your average speed to 38 miles an hour. And then at 2.1 miles, take a left onto, Elm Street and change your average speed to 22. And then there's checkpoints throughout that stage. They're all GPS marked.
And they won't tell you where.
Right. So they give you the mileage and they give you the distance, but they don't give you the time. So you have to figure out when you're supposed to be going through these checkpoints as accurately as possible. And there are a variety of different classes depending on your level of expertise and equipment. So we're in the SOP class, which stands for seat of pants, which means we don't have any computers or anything like that. There are equipped and unlimited classes that run rally computers where you basically put the directions into this computer and it'll tell you speed up, speed up, speed up, or slow down, slow down, slow down. I have Mercedes to tell me speed up or slow down. So
which is
Yeah, exactly.
Just wasn't good at that thing.
Yeah, we sort of jokingly say that the Alcan 5000 is, by the way, there are ridiculous long division equations to figure out the time that you need to be at, incremental times between checkpoints. So we jokingly say that the Alcan 5000 is an exercise in sleep deprivation and long division.
And hunger.
Well, okay, so let's be honest. You guys own a Pajero rally tractor. You've got a Delica. You've got a Subaru. 22 miles an hour feels just at home for you guys.
Oh, pretty much. Yeah, that's almost top speed of the rally tractor.
It's weird though that if you go too fast, you can lose. That's the bottom line, right?
You go too fast,
accuracy.
too slow.
It's literally it's a precision-based rally. So you have to be perfectly on point, on time, on course, perfectly.
Yeah, it's a 0 is a perfect score. So you show up early, you're penalized. You show up late, you're penalized. If you get stuck behind a tractor or you get stuck at a train crossing or something like that, you can take what they call a time allowance, which allows you to say, hey, we were here for 30 seconds. We're going to add 30 seconds to our time.
And the biggest thing is that it's all on public roads. So you have natural things like, oh, there's a stoplight or like a tractor or, oh, there's a train or whatever. Usually they're within towns. So it's not like on a highway or something like that. But yeah, like Andy said, you could be stopped and it's it's like force majeure. Oh, sorry, but there are time allowances. Yeah, like we're an act of God. Hopefully it's not a blizzard. I mean, which has happened up there in 2020. But it's like, hey, sorry sometimes. So.
What do you estimate you're going to spend in gasoline?
Lots.
I think that's fair.
You have an estimate. Didn't you have an estimate?
Oh God. Who knows with COVID and with the price of fuel increasing up there, I don't know.
So if we're going 5,000 miles.
5,000 miles. And I think the Grenadier was in between 15 to 17 miles per gallon.
15, that's
so. How much grenadine does it take through
for
the
what you did there?
Oh no, the grenadine's actually used.
Grenadine.
Do you guys use?
I don't even know how much we were thinking.
I think they use grenadine in the alcohol that they pour in their windshield wiper fluid to keep it from freezing. So it's red, yeah.
Well, Andy, you and I had priced out 87 octane, and I think it takes premiums.
It does take premium, yeah.
Oh my God, that's going to bankrupt you guys.
Do you have a financial? Do you guys have a financial sponsor?
That's why I said lots. So,
well, listen,
a few thousand, effectively, probably a few thousand.
I have an idea.
Well over 2,500 at least, I think.
I guarantee you, if you open up one of those back seating positions, Lightning will be happy to donate $500 to the cause, and he will be perfect for pushing when you run out of fuel because your range is less.
I don't think I'm going to push.
Weighs 1,000 pounds.
Right.
Two of them.
I was going to say we will tell you. I am very good about keeping meticulous records of all of my receipts as we go, especially fuel receipts. And if you follow Crankshaft Culture on our social, we actually have gotten a couple of press association awards, I should say rather, with our previous Alcan 5000 rally coverages and with the different reels and stuff like that. And one of them I know that I did of daily reels was, I think it was like day 9 or something. It was like day 9, 22 tanks later or something like that. And I flipped back and forth the receipts of all the fuel tank receipts of all the gas stations. And I'm like, I think it was like 21 or 22 tanks of like 9 days later or something like that. It was pretty wicked.
This is going to be epic. I'm excited for you guys. I'll tell you, as a longtime journalist, one of my favorite things is picking up a brand new unproven vehicle and driving it very long distances. I've had a chance to do that many times in my career, maybe not quite to the Arctic Circle, but there's nothing finer. If you guys want to follow along, I know you'll be posting at crankshaftculture.com. And then what social will you guys be posting the adventures on?
So I will primarily, since I'm the navigator, Andy's the driver, I will be posting on Crankshaft Culture via social media. So that will primarily be Instagram. I'll be doing a lot of stories, and I'll be doing hopefully daily posts as service will allow, and then also on Facebook, and then LinkedIn as well. And then on our social media, just, with our names, Andy and Mercedes Lilienthal.
But most of the stuff is going to be at Crankshaft Culture, with the exception of Twitter, if you're still doing that, which is at Crankshaft Cult.
Right.
Cool.
You know, it'd be so funny, Holman. They get all up there after 5,000 miles. They're tired as dreary.
And they realized they left one of their gold bricks at home to pay for fuel on the return trip.
They've spent all this money on fuel. They've done the best they can, but they've not come in first or like second or third, but still it's a good job. And then they finally get to the last destination. And you and I are just standing there smiling because we flew up on Alaska Airlines for $280.
Right. Hey, and I got to tell you that right away, you better have a magnum of champagne waiting for us.
In this case, there is champagne in the champagne room. All right.
I'm here for it.
You guys will be on the adventure from February 21st through March 1st. And you guys can follow along at their socials. Awesome to catch up with you guys. Andy, congrats on jumping out and being your own boss. I can tell you the awesomeness and fear that comes with that. And I'm excited you guys are out doing stuff that you love. It's amazing and great to catch up and talk to you guys.
Yeah, appreciate you having us on the show.
Thanks for having us on.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, bye. All right, it's been a minute since we played this jingle, but I think we should dust it off and just roll around in it.
Some people want to go off-road, so they better have that four-wheel mode. Others need to carry a load, or something else that's got to be towed. We don't care if you drive a Heat. We don't care if it's a brand new Jeep. We put the G in the GMC. Aw, shucks. Let's talk trucks.
I love that. Do people realize that if the Truck Show podcast would have been no more because of the previous ownership, that would have been our new podcast and that would have been our jingle? I don't think people know that.
No, they don't.
That would have been the Truck Show podcast version 2.0. And unfortunately for all of you listening, we're still on 1.0, maybe 1.5.
God bless Mr. Alan Goldman for putting that jingle together.
That is literally one of my favorite ones. I want to talk to you about IC Cars, which is a car study and research company. And they put out this really interesting, study on the best used cars and trucks for the money in 2024. And we'll focus on the trucks. But here's what's interesting. The methodology for figuring this out was kind of mind-blowing to me. I'm like, oh. And the more I read into it, I was like, I don't get it. And I got to the bottom, they explained it. I was like, oh, that actually makes sense.
So how are they're calculating the value of the vehicle based on what?
This is from them on methodology.
Okay.
They analyzed the price over 1.1 million 5 and 10-year-old cars sold from September to December 2023, and then the odometer readings of over 312 million cars on the road. From that, they fed the odometer readings for each vehicle into a proprietary model that estimated the probability that each vehicle would survive to various mileage thresholds. So basically they said, okay, we're going to focus on 5 and 10-year-old vehicles only, but we're going to use all this mileage in the industry so that we can see how long those models typically last. So they input those mileage numbers, said, this many Toyota Camrys reached 1 million miles. So the likelihood of all of them reaching here is this or whatever, right? Okay. So then they call it a survival model, which is pretty cool. They use that to calculate the average life of each vehicle, as well as the average mileage after 5 and 10 years of driving. And then the average prices for each 5 and 10-year-old vehicle was then calculated by comparing the remaining lifespan expressed as a purchase price per 10,000 miles. And that's where you get the value proposition.
Okay.
So they excluded heavy-duty and low-volume vehicles, and then to guarantee that the recommended models had a meaningful remaining driving lifespan, the requirement was 5-year-old and 10-year-old models had at least 100,000 miles or 80,000 miles of remaining lifespan. That was further imposed on the data to help new car buyers. They basically said, listen, new vehicles are expensive. You might not be able to afford one. You're looking for value. How can you get the best bang for your buck per the mileage that's on the vehicle and what the average lifespan is, what the price of that vehicle is in the marketplace, and then we'll rank them.
Has anyone ever done that before?
I've never seen it.
I've never heard of anyone rank vehicles based on their usable lifespan.
It's kind of cool. I'll just pull out a couple interesting ones. The Honda CR-V is the best 10-year-old SUV for the money with an average price of $15,726, with a remaining lifespan of 111,000 miles.
Okay, but does it consider ugly and pedestrian?
Nope, that was not part of this. And Honda CR-V got itself a trophy. I've got one of those trophy vehicles in my driveway right now.
Yeah.
Do you want to do the best 20 trucks, 10-year-old trucks for the money, or 5-year-old first?
I think we do. Wait, it's overall 20 and then 5-year-old.
No. It's 5 years or 10 years, but top 20 in each category.
Oh, let's do the. Oh, interesting. Let's do the
youngers or the olders first?
Let's do the youngers.
All right, so this list has the best 5-year-old used trucks for the money. This mixes half tons as well as mid-sized trucks. So number 12 was the GMC Sierra.
Wait, hold on. Engines? Do we
not included in this? It's just the nameplates.
Okay.
So this is across the average across all drivetrain configurations, all engines, all cabs, everything. So GMC Sierra 1500. So at a pretty expensive $3,307 for 10,000 miles, came out to $42,080, which is the average transaction price, had 127,262 miles left, 62.4% of its life. The next one at 11 is pretty interesting. That's Ford F-150. It's the only other one that was above $3,000 price for 10K at $3,059. But the transaction price drops from $42,000 to $35,309. But the remaining lifespan is only 115 compared to 127, 115, 425, and it only has 59.8% of its life remaining. And then here's the top 10. So 10?
10.
All right, Ram 1500 at $28.91 per price per 10,000 miles. The transaction price was $35,824. 123 920 remaining on the lifespan, which splits the difference between that Ford and the GMC Sierra. That's giving you 62.5% of life left.
9.
All right, number 9 is the Chevy Silverado 1500. It's amazing to see what a difference it is from the Sierra at 12, but I think that has to do with the more content on the Sierra and the higher transaction price anyway. But it's $25.94 for 10,000 miles. Again, the GMC Sierra was at $42,080. The Silverado's $36,524. So you're going to get a better value.
$36,000. Okay.
Yep, a lot better value than going with the GMC. And you get 135,969 miles remaining versus the 127 on the GMC. That's giving it a 63.9% of its remaining lifespan.
So these are all kind of clustered together with the same mileage remaining, which is kind of interesting.
Okay, so the truck average comes in here between 8 and 9, and that's at $25.94. 34,709, 133,000 miles, 133,811, and you get 64% of life. Now we start, kind of chipping away. No, the next one,
8,
is the Ford Ranger at $23.99. Its transaction price, $30,669, 127,836 miles remaining. That's 66%, 66.9% of its remaining life. That's the highest on the list so far.
Okay.
Now the next
7.
Now the next one, number 7, the Chevy Colorado, $23.92. Now the transaction price over the Ranger drops to $27,882. Ranger was $36.69, but you only get 116,542 miles left on the truck versus 127,836. That's 62% remaining lifespan. So the Colorado is cheaper, but you also don't get as many miles.
But it's not. That's not like 40,000 less. It's only like it's less than 10,000 less.
6.
So 6 is the Nissan Titan, $23.62. Transaction price $31,967. You get 135,338 miles.
Yeah, that's better.
That's 65.2%.
5.
The GMC Canyon, $2,354 per 10,000 miles. That's a $31,113. You get 132,175 miles remaining, and that's 66%, 66.7. So the second highest on percentage. Now we get into the top 4. This is fascinating to me because the value proposition and the miles remaining jump up quite a bit.
So I was waiting for this. Like we're all clustered around that 116 to 133 range, 133,000 miles. No, it was 136, somewhere around there being the best.
4.
That's right. Toyota Tundra, number 4. $2,079 for 10,000 miles, $39,153 average price. So the transaction
more expensive,
goes way up, but the remaining lifespan, 188,340 miles.
Damn!
That's the highest on the list out of all of them. That's 71.7% of life still remaining at 5 years.
Wow. 188, you said?
188. Now, the next one's interesting because the remaining lifespan goes down and the miles goes down, but the price goes way down, which tells you what a value it is. So,
wait a minute. What could this be?
3.
Wait, I got to guess. The price is going way down. An Isuzu Trooper.
Oh, yes. Nissan Frontier. $2,072 per 10,000 miles.
Okay.
Transaction price was only $24,834. So that is actually the lowest transaction price on the list. So you get the most value from there.
So can I guess on mileage?
Remaining mileage is
144.
119,844.
Okay.
That equates to 63.2%. Now the number
2.
truck is the Toyota Tacoma. This is the first truck that breaks down below $2,000 price per 10,000 miles. $1,894. Average price $33,116. Remaining lifespan, do you care to guess?
Is it better or is it worse? I think it's better. So I'm 138.
174,831.
Oh my God, I was way off.
71.4%. And
so both the Toyotas crushing it.
Are you ready for number 1 on the list?
And number 1 is, I'm going to guess. Can I guess? Here we go.
I'm waiting.
Ford F-150.
No, that was number 11.
You're right, it was number 11. Damn it!
Number 1 is the Honda Ridgeline. Listen, I get it. If you don't consider the Honda Ridgeline a truck, the Tacoma's number 1, the Frontier's number 2.
No.
All right. Lightning. No. Stop.
No.
All right. The reason the Honda Ridgeline made it to number 1 was because it is $1,647 per 10,000. Average price $30,026, and it has an incredible 71.2% of life left, with 182,288 miles to go. That's pretty good. All right, so let's move over to 10-year-old trucks, and we'll do the top 5.
All right.
So this is what's interesting: best 10-year-old used trucks for the money. At number 5.
Number 5.
Get the Chevy Silverado 1500. So again, this is now a minimum of 80,000 miles to go, and 10 years old. Okay.
Yep.
$2,573 price per 10,000 miles. So still $2,500 for 10,000 miles. That's still pretty pricey.
That's pricey. Yep.
Average price drops to $21,349, and it still has 39% of its usable life left, which is 82,979 miles.
So this one has to be a Ford F-150.
So coming in at
number 4
is the Nissan Titan.
Okay, interesting.
$2,255 per 10,000 miles. Average price $19,103. Remaining lifespan 40.8%, which equates to 84,704 miles. So if you were to buy a Nissan Titan, a 10-year-old one, you spend just about $20,000 and you still have about 85,000 miles for the truck's life. Truck average is between 3 and 4. Positions 3 and 4, that's $2,208 per 10,000. $22,195 is the average transaction price. Remaining lifespan on average was 105.29 with 44%. So the top 3.
Number 3.
Toyota Tundra, 1,983 per 10,000 miles, so it drops under that 2,000 threshold. Average transaction price for a 10-year-old Tundra, $26,281.
Wow.
But it did have 50.4% of its lifespan remaining at $132,565.
That's a lot better than the 84,000.
Now, this is interesting on number 2.
Number 2.
So that's the Toyota Tacoma, 1836. Average transaction price drops to $22,664 from the $26,281 on the Tundra. Remaining miles drops from 132,565 to 123,422. The remaining lifespan is identical at 50.4% between the Tundra and the Tacoma. Isn't that kind of amazing? All that data, and they're exactly the same.
Yes, something
Stats
fishy.
are weird. No, that's just how the world works.
Okay.
And finally, number 1.
Number 1.
All right, can you guess number 1?
Number 1 is the Honda Ridgeline.
That's right. This is a trick question. The Honda Ridgeline comes in at $1,595 price per 10,000 miles, which is the best value. Average price, $20,257 for a 10-year-old Ridgeline. You'll have 127,038 miles of fun remaining, which equates to 49.6%. So
You're not wrong. You just maybe less than right.
If only Honda made a truck, an actual truck.
All right, so I'd like to point out that your truck, the Ram TRX, so would be
was
lumped in the Ram
number half because it was better than
not
one.
even
It was 0.5. It was so good. It had
listed.
190,000 miles
Not
left, even at 10 years,
listed.
and it was only 15. What?
Not even listed.
Not
so
even listed.
I will say that best 10-year-old SUVs for the money, at least my Jeep Wrangler Unlimited came in at number 18 at a transaction price of $23,381 for $2,719 for 10,000.
Yeah.
And it still had 86,000 miles or 43.8% of life remaining.
Skip to number one on SUV, so we don't have to go through that list. What's the number one?
Honda CR-V. On 10-year-old and Chevy Trax.
Well, the Chevy Trax is an import, is it not?
I believe it is made in South Korea. It may have some lineage back to the Daewoo, but I believe it is a South Korean Chevy product. Could be wrong. Or I could be right, and Chevy is just killing it with their little tiny import things. Yeah. All right, so if you guys want to read this list in its entirety, you can go to iccars.com. They do have the 20 best 5-year-old used cars for the money, which are the Trax, the Honda Fit, and the Honda Insight. The 20 best 10-year-old used cars for the money, Toyota Avalon, Honda CR-V, and Honda Accord. I guess they're lumping CUVs and sedans together in there. And then if you want to find out the best 5-year-old used SUVs for the money, that's the Chevy Trax, Buick Encore, Mitsubishi Outlander Sport. And the best 10-year-old used SUVs for the money, Honda CR-V, Mazda CX-9, and interesting enough, the Lincoln MKX.
Wow, not a single German car or SUV in that list.
Well, okay,
not one.
Let me stoke your flame. The best 5-year-old used passenger car for the money,
yeah,
would be Honda Fit, Honda Insight, Honda Accord. Let's go to 10-year-old and see if your Germans break into the top 3. That would be Toyota Avalon, Honda Accord, Lexus GS 350.
Oh my God.
So, anyway, I just thought it was a really cool survey. The methodology is interesting. So for all you guys looking for a vehicle for your kid who's learning to drive or something to put around town in, that's how you know where the best value is. iccars.com.
Before we end the show, you had some crazy Nissan patent. Is that right?
This was released or approved on January 9th, 2024. Patent number US 11,866,100B2.
Okay.
So if you're looking, I don't even know if that's how you're supposed to read those patent numbers, but
it doesn't sound right.
If that's what you're looking for. But it's super interesting.
Why do we care? I mean, I love Nissan, but why do we care about this patent?
The abstract is a vehicle includes a vehicle frame and vehicle body. The vehicle is supported on the vehicle frame. The vehicle body has a cabin and cargo box. The cabin houses one or more vehicle seats. The cabin has a rear wall, and the cargo box has a front wall that is adjacent to the rear wall. The rear wall of the cabin and the front wall of the cargo box together define a pass-through that connects a floor of the cargo box and the floor of the cabin. The pass-through is closable by a barrier.
Wait
and in
a
this
minute.
particular patent, Nissan has removed the rear bulkhead of the cab and the front of the bed and created a new bulkhead that is removable. I guess the glass and the bulkhead itself comes out. The rear seats are 2 buckets. It has a canvas full-length sunroof and a structure on the pickup bed that looks like a camper shell, except it has all of these soft parts that comes off, and it basically turns the Frontier into an open-air vehicle. Didn't see that one coming, did you?
I did not. Wow. This is like, do you remember all the walkthroughs back in the day when you put your sub box and you connect it all the way through? The guys had to weld the bed to the cab.
This would be like that from the factory.
Except for this is a soft top instead of a shell. Like we used to use Ferguson super shells because they would keep the bass inside. They had sound deadening internally. This is you said soft top, right?
Well, it's got a like an exo structure, so the rear window, the side windows, and the top of this camper shell structure, which would keep the body rigid without having
like
that
a Jeep
bulkhead.
there.
So think of it this way: this is the best way I can describe it is a Chevy Avalanche, except the bed and cab are separate from each other. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the Avalanche was like was a Suburban basically that had a bulkhead. This is a pickup truck that has the bulkhead. And so it's really interesting because they're experimenting with this pass-through idea and this bulkhead idea.
How can they be patenting this? It seems like this is obvious and been done.
Because it hasn't quite been done this way. And then there's it looks like a channel system, special weather stripping, and all that kind of stuff. I would say that it's probably more than a patent. I would say that that's possibly a design exercise.
You know what I hear?
Embargo.
I'm hearing that Holman knows something about this patent.
So anyway, if you want to check out this patent, you
Let
can
me ask
head
you a
over
legitimate
to the
question.
patent office.
Let me ask you a legit question.
Yes.
When does it go on sale and how much?
It doesn't, and I have no idea.
Sure.
Embargo.
I'm just saying that if you were to take a mid-sized pickup truck and make like the roof and back panels and things come off, and if it's more of a lifestyle fun vehicle,
Yes.
that could be pretty cool.
Tell me more about this vehicle, this said vehicle
I
that.
just did. We just spent 5
No,
minutes
I'm
on
saying,
it.
I'm saying, when is it coming out? When can we see it with our
I think
eyes?
this is a great spot to plug Nissan as our presenting sponsor and end the show.
Lying sack of shit.
You know what's up. You're not sharing.
No, that's not it at all. I found this patent. How would I know anything? The patent was just released January 9th, 2024.
Because you heard some
It's
scuttlebutt?
11 pages. There's all sorts of goodness in there, but I'll let you patent nerds go out there and find it. Again, that would be patent number US 11866100B2.
Well, I hope you wrote it down.
I mean, I don't need to. It's right here on my computer.
Kills me that you know more about this than you're letting on. Damn you.
The Truck Show, the Truck Show, the Truck Show. Oh,
For the record, I know nothing beyond what is in this patent. I just thought it would be cool to bring it to your attention. So, Anyway, if you have some cool patents that you have found while sniffing around the internet, send us an email, truckshowpodcast@gmail.com, Holman@truckshowpodcast.com, or lightning@truckshowpodcast.com. Of course, you can follow us on the old socials @truckshowpodcast, @Sean P. Holman, @LBC Lightning, and our buddy Dave Graham has been killing it. If you guys have seen all the content, I now have randos coming up to me going, dude, Truck Show's awesome. Dude, Instagram's killing it. And I'm
He
like,
is, dude. Dave is murdering it. So thank you, Dave. Shout out to you, since I know you're listening.
Yeah.
Hey, you can slide in my DMs. You guys have been doing it pretty heartily lately. So
including me. I listen. Sometimes when you have an organization, you have to act like the customer in order to see if the processes are working. And I will tell you, I did a secret shopper, and it works.
At LBC Lightning, if you need the hookup on some Banks products, if you're looking for a Ram Air rear differential cover, like Holman's uncle needed for his Ram, just, again, slide into the DMs, and I'll hook a brother up at LBC Lightning.
And we are seriously sad that we haven't gotten any of your beautiful voices on our 5-star hotline. So 657-205-6105. Leave us a message. Tell us what you're up to, what's bothering you, how many people have their lights off on the freeway. You can commiserate with
don't even
lightning.
go there. Okay, all right. So you're going to bring
tell
that
a story?
up?
Yeah,
All right, so
I am.
On the way here, ladies and gents.
Yeah.
On the way here, I recorded on my phone.
While driving.
My iPhone 13 Pro X. I don't have a 14.
I have a 15, but
Yeah, mine's old. I have the first big lenses here. I got some footage of 3 cars, the third of which they turn on the lights for me. The first 2, I couldn't get their attention. I'm collecting all this footage because I'm going to do a little rant here on YouTube, on the YouTubes, and I needed the B-roll. So if you're driving along over the next couple days, and you see the car in front of you, it's probably going to be a Lexus. I think 9 times out of 10, it's always a Lexus or a Toyota.
Yeah, it's a Toyota product a lot.
Yeah, I had 2 Priuses on the way here.
Oh, yeah.
Record 5 seconds. That's all I need. It's 5 seconds. Hold your phone vertically and give me some footage, and then just DM it to me, please. I need that footage because we're going on a serious rant on YouTube. We're going to make a little short of it.
We
Spread
or
it
you?
around. Maybe me.
Okay.
I know we've talked about this ad nauseum, but it's still an epidemic. I'm curious if it's happening by you.
Listen,
are the cars and trucks driving with their lights freaking off?
All for epidemics, but only if it's the reviews. So head over to Spotify or Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, and please leave a review of your favorite podcast. Hopefully that's this one. And we're also waiting for some more Know Your Notes. You can send those to us on any of our platforms. And then also, please send us your events. We got a ton of events in the queue. I think we've added some more in the last week or two.
When you say in the queue, they're all live. They're all on the page.
So go to truckshowpodcast.com. Click on the events tab. We got a full calendar so you can find a show near you.
And one more thing. If you're cruising along on the highway and you see a Nissan Frontier, be sure to photograph it out the windshield of your truck and send it to us. And I will send you a Truck Show podcast sticker. Actually,
At least 50% of the time.
make it 2. I've been pretty good lately. There's still 2 or 3 outstanding.
If you guys did not get your stickers yet, and honor system only, email us, truckshowpodcast@gmail.com, and we will get those out to you.
Indeed, my friend Holman. So we want you to head over to your Nissan dealer and check out the brand new Nissan Frontier or Nissan Titan. The Titan's got the best warranty in the business, 5-year, 100,000 miles. And if you need a little smaller truck, the Frontier is super duper slick, easy to get around town, but super durable for even semi-heavy duty needs. I'm just making stuff up.
Wow, that was your first cold Nissan read in a long time.
Yeah, I was rusty.
Rough and rugged, just like the
Just
Nissan
like the
Frontier
truck.
Pro 4X. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
Pro 4X is a good truck.
Should
by
I
the
try
way.
and do the cold Banks read?
I dare you.
All right,
Double
head
dare
on
you.
over to bankspower.com where you can use their build and price tool. No,
What?
well, your
Wrong
make
name.
model. Where you can use their year make model tool to
Yes.
figure out what parts they have for your car.
Well, no, you're
or
supposed to
truck.
you're supposed to promote the iDash.
I'm
here.
getting there.
Oh.
And one of those products that is car or truck, which is why I freaking just mentioned it.
Okay.
Lightning, the iDash. And the iDash is an amazing, do-it-all, everything you need gauge that replaces something like 800 gauges. It plugs into your OBD2 port. You can data log with it. It shows you all the vitals that your car's dashboard refuses to show you. There's nothing else out there that's like the iDash. And now Banks on select applications is even offering the Stealth Pods, which is their new mounting system that looks like it came from the factory on a horde of different trucks, Jeeps, and other
Watch your
great things.
language.
Bankspower.com.
Hey guys, it's Miles, your producer here.
Hey, what's up?
I just emailed you a photograph of a Nissan Frontier. Does it matter that it was in Whole Man's driveway?
Well, I don't know who Whole Man is, but yeah, that matters. That's cheating.
Yeah, no, that doesn't count.
The Truck Show Podcast is a production of Truck Famous LLC. This podcast was created by Sean Holman and Jay Tillis with production elements by DJ Omar Khan. If you like what you've heard, please open your Apple Podcast or Spotify app and give us a 5-star rating. And if you're a fan, there's no better way to show your support than by patronizing our sponsors. Some vehicles may have been harmed during the making of this podcast.
Yeah. 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 Me one more time. Yeah. I can't even say shit right now.